Are soulmates real? Believing you found your one true match might not be the best thing for your relationship. Here's another way to look at the one. No one ever asks, are soulmates real? Just because they think it's an interesting question. There's always more to it than that. It's like when your 5-year-old son or daughter asks, are monsters real? They're not just asking you because they're fascinated by the topic of the monsters in general. Most likely they're asking you whether monsters are real because they think they may have just seen one. Most people yearn to find their soulmate, and they assume they'll be happy once they do. But as writer Elizabeth Gilbert notes in her best-selling book, Eat, Pray, Love, a soulmate's purpose is to shake you up, tear apart your ego a little bit, show you your obstacles and addictions, break your heart open so new light can get in. In other words, if you're hoping to find your soulmate, be careful what you wish for. But what is it that makes you, dear listener, interested in the question of soulmates right now? Maybe you have fallen in love with someone who you think might be your soulmate, and you are finding the relationship harder than you expected. Or maybe you found your soulmate but they are married to someone else. Or maybe it just did not work out, and now you're left trying to make sense of it all. Because why would this have happened if the two of you were really soulmates? Elizabeth Gilbert also wrote, a true soulmate is probably the most important person you will ever meet, because they tear you down and smack you awake. But to live with a soulmate forever, nah, too painful. But hey, maybe that's just Elizabeth Gilbert. Maybe other people's experiences will be more positive. Let's say you decide to Google the question, are soulmates real? What are you likely to find? First, you will find a lot of speculations about whether soulmates are even possible. In order to believe in soulmates, you first need to believe in souls. That's something science can't prove or disapprove. But according to one recent study, 2/3 of Americans do believe in soulmates. For women who are currently committed to relationships, it's even higher, 82%. The first thing we learned from psychology is that if you're someone who believes in soulmates, your relationship is less likely to survive long-term and more likely to break up. People who don't believe in soulmates may have more stable long-term relationships. When conflicts happen in a relationship, couples who believe in soulmates seem to get more upset about them and more crushingly disappointed by the fact that they don't fit perfectly together in all aspects. But of course, that is just statistical finding. I assume there are some believers who are happy together and some non-believers who have horrible relationships. I would like to suggest another way to think about soulmates, a way that doesn't leave you so vulnerable to feelings betrayed by the universe when someone you thought was your soulmate turns out to be a disaster. Let's say you think of your soulmate sense as a kind of GPS that lights up when you meet someone promising. But what if someone was meant to be your soulmate but the two of you messed it up? Or for some reason you missed the chance to be together? The main thing is not to assume there's just one way to get your destination. Soulmates, if they exist, are surely not irreplaceable, though it can feel that way when you feel you've lost one. Remember, you still have your GPS to help you find another one. 1. If you feel that your partner might be the true, intended companion of your soul, and if this feeling inspires you to love them more deeply, then don't let anyone talk you out of it. Most of us experience what you might call a hunger of the soul, for connection with something bigger than ourselves. Some people feel this very keenly. Maybe you're one of them. 2. But don't let the idea that someone is your true soulmate become a tyranny. If someone you thought was your soulmate turns out to be too much of a disappointment, remember there are multiple paths to a meaningful life. Don't get stuck on one person. Just because at one time you thought they were your one and only irreplaceable soulmate, use your GPS. 3 is great passion does not always lead to a great relationship. To paraphrase Michael Lee, Easter Peril, just because it's a beautiful love story doesn't mean it's meant to be a life story. Just because someone feels like your soulmate, that doesn't mean you have to be with them forever. After all, maybe they were just destined to break your heart open so new light can get in. As always, this is Extended. If you like today's episode, make sure to subscribe and become a fan of us to know more and more and more about scientific stuff.